Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to NSA e-Nugget series. My name is Vivian. I'm a volunteer with Rsvp Singapore. Today, I'm going to talk to you about effective volunteering. Before we begin, let's do a poll. Are you currently an active volunteer? Please submit your answer through the Facebook poll now. Please click on yes or no. The purpose of this poll is just for us to have a bit of understanding of our audience today to see whether you have any experience in volunteering. If you have never done any volunteer work, I hope after this talk, you'll be inspired to start your volunteering journey with Rsvp. If you have done some volunteer work, I would like to share with you some of our programs at Rsvp. Every organization has different programs. I hope some of our activities will interest you and you will decide to join us. Well, please select your answer and I will be seeing whether we have a lot of volunteers in this group audience today, or most of you have not done volunteer work. And I hope this talk will give you some tips on how to become an effective volunteer. Okay, there are some volunteers. Okay, majority said yes. Oh, okay. Is it majority? Yes. Okay. Oh no, it's half-half, you know. There's a few. Some of majority says, majority says no. Okay. Some yes, some no, but majority is no. Okay, so hopefully I'll be able to share with you some tips and also inspire you to make you more motivated to sign up as a volunteer. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. First, before I talk about volunteering, I'd like to introduce myself. As I said, my name is Vivian. Like all of you, I am an active senior. Currently, I am a freelance trainer. This is my semi-retirement job. Before that, I was a recruiter. Because I was running my own business as a recruitment in a recruitment agency, I have more flexibility in terms of work schedule. Therefore, in 2013, I decided it's time for me to give back a little back to the community. So I signed up to become a befriender for seniors because I have this passion to work with older folks. That's when I started my journey of volunteering. I love to exercise and I love meeting people. Most importantly, at this stage of my life, I just want to live a meaningful life and a healthy life. I'm sure all of you will agree with me, health is very important. This is today's agenda. We'll talk about the benefits of volunteering, and then I will also talk about the effective volunteering areas, which include our passion to become a volunteer, the people skills required to be a volunteer, last but not least, the programs we have at Rsvp. We'll end this talk with a question and answer session. Empowering seniors to share and serve. This is our mission statement for Rsvp. When I first got to know about Rsvp, I personally really liked the mission and vision about empowering our seniors to become volunteers to contribute back to society. To me, I think age is just a number. It doesn't really matter how old you are. As long as we are healthy, we are willing to share our experience and serve the community, we can be a volunteer. Here are some of the benefits of volunteering. Be active, both physically and mentally. A chance to give back to society. To have a meaningful life and feeling blessed. For me, I feel really blessed, especially when I engage some beneficiaries who come from less fortunate background. Some of them even have disabilities. So when I engage with these people, I start to reflect back on my life and my family, and I feel I'm really blessed. I feel more contented. I treasure my family, my life more. And to me, this is the reward I get from volunteering. When you volunteer, you meet different people from different backgrounds, and definitely you widen your social circle and make more friends. So these are some of the benefits of volunteering, which I highlighted, but obviously there are more benefits to that as well. What you are seeing on the screen now is a framework of effective volunteering. There are 3 parts to effective volunteering. And first and foremost, you need to have the passion. You need a purpose and motivation to become a volunteer. Then we'll talk about the people skills, the communication skills. Last but not least, we'll talk about the programs that we have. First, very important is to have the passion. What are you passionate about? And are you clear about your purpose and motivation for volunteering? I think you will agree with me that if you are passionate with something and you love to do something, you tend to be more successful and you tend to be able to do well. So passion is important. Volunteering is no difference. If you have a passion, you are motivated by the purpose of volunteering, you definitely can be a good volunteer. What is volunteerism? Here are some definitions of volunteerism. First, commitment to do something without expecting any reward. As the word volunteer speaks for itself, there's no salary, there's no monetary compensation. So the commitment is very important. You need to be selfless in giving your time and being committed to what we believe in. And you're giving more than what is expected. What makes people passionate about volunteering? There are many, many reasons. We have interviewed some of our volunteers, and these are some of the popular reasons that they come out with. I want to contribute to society. I want to keep myself active. Most of our volunteers are seniors who have retired. Instead of staying at home to watch TV whole day, they prefer to keep themselves active. And at the same time, they can help other people and make a lot of friends. And some believe that I will receive good things when I do good. Also, during the course of volunteering, we will learn different things. We will learn things and share experiences with people. And then we can understand and learn more about the world. So here's the question for you. Why do you want to volunteer? What are you passionate about? It is important that we know what motivates us to do this volunteer work. For me, as I share with you, my passion is to work with old folks. Therefore, I signed up to become a befriender for seniors. But some of you may be interested to work with people with disabilities. Some may prefer to work with children or youth. So everybody has a different motivation and passion. Here are some of the desirable attributes for an effective volunteer. Again, we interviewed our volunteers, and here are some of the popular attributes they come out with. First, there's patience. As a volunteer, some of us may expect that the beneficiaries would be very happy to see us, and they would be grateful that we are here to help them. But that may not be the case. Sometimes we meet beneficiaries who do not have welcome volunteers with open arms. We need to have patience to build up the rapport with them, to build the trust with them, so that they allow us to help them. So patience is important. But with kindness, sincerity, humility, and being respectful to them, we can build that relationship. It has a selfless selflessness, forgiveness, because sometimes there may be conflict or some resentment during some activities. So we always have to remember about forgiveness, honesty. I want to talk about commitment, because volunteers are not paid a salary to do the work. So it is important that as a volunteer, our commitment means that we have to follow through what we agree to do. I myself think empathy is very, very important. Empathy means putting yourself in their position. If we have empathy, we'll be able to understand our beneficiaries' needs and see how we may help them. It's different from having pity on somebody or sympathy. Empathy is really putting yourself in other people's shoes. Here is this statement, I think, sums up what is important for a person to be a good volunteer. A person's most useful asset is not a head full of knowledge, but a heart full of love and a ear ready to listen and a hand willing to help others. A good volunteer does not require many diplomas, certificates, or even degree. If you have a heart with love and sincerity and you want to help, you can be a good volunteer. We need to work with people. As volunteers, we need to engage our beneficiaries. We need to work with fellow volunteers. So it's no difference from working in any organization. We need to be an active listener. An active listener is someone who not only hear the words, but be able to understand the meaning behind the words. We'll be able to communicate effectively, and very important, to work as a team. No volunteers work alone. No volunteers will be, say, you sign up as a volunteer and you're out you go and you do your work. We always work in a team. So working in a team is very important. Importance of listening, okay? It is, as an active listener, we must listen not just with ears. This is a Chinese character, ting. Ting means listen. On the left-hand side, that's the character ear. There's a saying in Chinese that we come 1 year in, 1 year out. So when we listen, we not only hear the words, but we also must observe with our eyes. Non-verbal communication is very critical. Things like body language, non-verbal communication speaks more than the words itself. To be a good listener, we need to also give undivided attention to the speaker. To be able to be an active listener with a heart and the sincerity to listen to them so that they can open up and share with them their pains, so that as volunteers, we'll be able to see how we may be able to help. Here are some of the tips about listening skills. You give full physical attention to the speaker, because a lot of times when we speak, we may be distracted. For example, even you're speaking to anybody, whether you're engaging beneficiaries as a volunteer, or even at home, or with your family, or with your friends. Sometimes if a message comes, for example, you start to look at your handphone and things like that. So that can be distracting. Nonverbal messages is very important. Pay attention to the words and feeling that are being expressed. So use reflective listening skills like paraphrasing, reflecting, summarizing, and questioning to increase the understanding and to avoid misunderstanding. Communication starts when the sender has a message to send to the receiver through whether it's face-to-face or through a telephone. Effective communication is never one way. It has to be two-way. When the speaker sends a message out, it is important that it is clear, concise, and understood by the listener. And the listener is allowed to give feedback. So it's always two-way traffic to be effective. Communications that can be helpful are be concise and brief in your words, be consistent with your word and your body language. Use pauses and tone, because when you say something, it's like, for example, I'll say, I'm so happy to see you. So you look at my face, I don't look very happy. So body language, although I say that I'm happy to see you, but I'm not smiling. So all this body language speaks more than words. People will know that you're not really happy to see me. So use facial expression and body language appropriately. Be aware that people you engage with come from different background, different age background, cultural background. So it's important that we don't use jargon, abbreviation, or acronyms. Working in a team is important, as I said earlier. Respect each other and listen attentively, and always help each other, share with each other, give constructive feedback, because it is important that we work as a team, we have a common goal to help our beneficiaries. So we participate actively and work well as a team. So now I'd like to share with you some programs that we have at Rsvp. You must be wondering whether, what are we doing during COVID? Can you participate? The answer is yes. Companies, commercial companies have decided to, they make changes and they have people working from home. So volunteers in volunteering organization like Rsvp, we have made a lot of changes and adapt to this new norm as well. For example, we partner with Singapore Art Museum. We used to have our volunteers go on site to be museum guide. But now, because of COVID, we cannot go on site. So we have these activities going on, but via Zoom. We will introduce contemporary art pieces to the participants, and our volunteers will facilitate the discussion of these art pieces. So as a volunteer for this program, you need to go through training to understand about the art pieces first before you can discuss with them. And also you have a few training and discussions so that you know how to facilitate the whole discussions. Another activity we have is that we partner with primary schools. Our volunteers used to go on site to play with the children, teach them art and craft, do storytelling. But now we also have moved these activities over Zoom. So again, our volunteers need to be trained how to use Zoom, one of the main things, and then also have discussions with the teachers, plan the programs, and to work with the children via Zoom. So these we are still going on with all these activities, but we have just migrated it from on-site to virtual. Having said that, we still have some on-site volunteering work. For example, we partner with Indian Heritage Center. Sometimes they call our volunteers to help to man their reception booth. So for our volunteers to go on site, first they must attend some briefing online via Zoom so that they understand the safety measures. So at Rsvp, we need to take care of our beneficiaries, but at the same time, we're very mindful that we need to take care of our volunteers as well. Another on-site activity we did was partner with Yong An Care Center. Our volunteers went on site to distribute bread and gaya to the needy residents in Chinatown. Again, they have to attend a briefing before they are being deployed to make sure what are they supposed to do on site, what kind of safety measures, for example, hand sanitizer, gloves and masks, what they're supposed to do. So to make sure that after they are all protected. So in summary, RSVP has two types of volunteer work. One is regular, as I just told you, that we have some of them we have brought it onto the Zoom platform. But like the distribution of bread to the residents, these are what we call episodic. Episodic work is on ad hoc basis. So it's very suitable for volunteers who may still have work commitment and they are not able to do it on a regular basis. So when there's activities, ad hoc activities happen, we will notify them, and if it fits their schedule, then they will join. So for example, during circuit breaker, some of our volunteers went to distribute masks and sanitizer. So we have befriending program, we have museum guiding program, we have training program, which I come from the training department. We have two tracks of training programs. One is a soft skill training program. The other type of training program is, we call it our trainers cyber guide. Basically, it's IT training. We train our seniors to use computer and also to use mobile applications. As you know, in Singapore now, even you need to know some sort of computer. You need to use your mobile application even to get into a shopping mall, for example. So we do have this kind of training opportunities for volunteers. With that, I want to summarize what is volunteering. Actually, volunteering, to be an effective volunteering, what you need to do is the right mindset. It doesn't matter how old we are, as long as we have the growth mindset, we want to learn. Life is a school that you are here to learn and pass all your tests. There'll be problems, but they are simply part of the curriculum, and it'll just go away. As long as we are willing to learn, we can do it. It doesn't matter. The lesson you learn will last a lifetime. And we also have opportunity to share our experience and knowledge with other people. So with that, I welcome any questions and answers. Okay. Please type in your questions in the Facebook comment. Okay. Somebody asked, how do you impart the human touch? Volunteering over virtual. Okay. I cannot tell you that, oh, doing activities on Zoom is so much better than doing on site. That's a lie. Definitely the human touch is much better on site. But with COVID, this pandemic has turned our life upside down, so we just have to adapt. So at Rsvp, we put it on virtual, but all the volunteers, that's why we need to train our volunteers, for example, how to use Zoom, how to engage. So it's a matter of getting used to it, a change of a mindset, but can be done. So as a trainer, it is definitely easier to go on site, but I learned something. I need to make the changes. So I learned how to use Zoom, and I get used to how to engage my learners on Zoom as well. So it can be done. It's a change of attitude. Another question comes, what are the challenges when volunteering during COVID-19? Okay. Well, similar to the first question, we have to learn. We just have to change mindset. As the last slide I showed you, right? Life is like just a learning. It's a lifelong learning. Like in Chinese, we say 活到老，学到老. So we just have to change and make the best out of it. So it is challenging, but at the same time, we learn something different, definitely. Is there an age limit for volunteering? Okay. For RSVP, you have to be minimum 40 years old to participate in any regular activity, any regular programs. For example, the museum guide and teaching the primary school students in craft work, for example. But for younger volunteers who are interested to join us, we welcome you for all the episodic activities. Okay. What type of volunteering opportunities exist during COVID period? As I said, during COVID period, we have moved the museum guides to a platform, to the Zoom platform. So our volunteers have to learn more about the art pieces and how to facilitate a discussion. So they need to do some research, and they will be taught. There were trainings to help them to be more prepared to deliver that. Okay. Good. And then we also have, as I said, even during COVID circuit breaker time, as I said, we have episodic events. These activities depends on the partners, what are their needs. So as I said, we mobilize some of our volunteers to give out masks and give out sanitizer, even during the circuit breaker. So again, of course, when we send our volunteers out, we have to be very mindful that they really understand the safety measure, because the health and safety measure is number one in volunteering. What to take note of to be an effective volunteer? As I shared in the slides, there are many attributes to become an effective volunteer. I think most important thing, you have to have the heart. You must have the passion. You must know that you are doing something that you enjoy and you feel there's a purpose of doing it. I share with all of you that when I started the journey of volunteering, I know I'm interested to work with old folks. So find a program that will interest you. Some people like, to be like art, for example. They may want to sign up as a museum guide to talk about art pieces. But some love children, they would want to sign up as a volunteer to engage the children to do arts and craft. So for me, I know I'm interested in training. So, and I'm a freelance trainer. So I think I can also, in my spare time, I can help to volunteer as a trainer. So it really depends on your passion and how you match your passion with the program. I love art and would love to volunteer in that area. How can I volunteer my service at Rsvp? Okay, I would encourage you to check into our website, which is www.rsvp.org.sg. And we will send, we have a, please check into that. And we hold open house to introduce our programs to volunteers for people who are interested to become our volunteer. And I encourage you to sign up for it. Okay. We'll try to give a link on the chat group. Okay. Okay, what is Rsvp? Okay, Rsvp, we are a social services organization. So we have It's a volunteer organization. Okay, so as a member, we are like me. I sign up with them as a volunteer. As I said, the mission, I think you may have missed it. As the mission for RSVP is to empower our seniors. Our seniors in social services organization is 50 and above, so quite young. Okay, to be volunteers and contribute back to society. Okay, how do we submit our names to volunteer? Yes, as I said, please go into our website and check out what we have, but sign up for our open house. So the first step is sign up for our open house. Okay, I'll try to give you the link of our open house. Yeah. Okay. If I'm an impatient person by nature, does it mean that I'm not a good candidate for volunteering? I can tell you, I'm very impatient. So I'm impatient, but it's something that you'll be aware of it. So if you say you have been patient, so you're aware of it, then I think as long as you have a heart and you really want to do volunteering work, I'm sure you can do it. So I also learn a lot during my course of engaging my beneficiaries. So it's a learning process. Why do people take advantage of volunteers? Some agencies treat volunteers like servants. Is there some avenues to report abuse? Okay, I cannot speak. I don't have the experience being abused as a volunteer. And I think I can only say RSVP does not do that. In fact, as my experience with RSVP, they treat our volunteers very well. And yeah, there is definitely guidelines. We are not supposed to abuse. I don't know about abuse of, maybe what you can do if people as volunteers, we're not supposed to be abused. Even if they, as an employee for any companies, you're not supposed to be abused. I think you can always talk to the organization to find out how what are the conflicts, what are the issues. What is the most memorable experience with volunteering? Okay. Through my experience with volunteering, as I said, I do befriending with seniors. I have made friends with my beneficiaries. So, and it's really nice when somebody say, I'm so happy, I'm thinking about you, and I hope you come, and today you really come, I'm so happy to see you. You know, these words, money cannot buy. And I feel I've done something to make somebody smile and sort of contributed a little bit to the happiness in their lives. And I feel very rewarding. So that's why I have continued for so long as a volunteer. Volunteer RSVP. What does it stand for? Okay. RSVP is an acronym, but I think there's some history. I read about it, something about senior. Okay, V is volunteer, it's senior volunteer. RSVP has been around for quite some time. And the whole thing is about, RSVP is about empowering our seniors to become volunteers. So that's the whole mission of that. How is the volunteering experience here different from other countries? I'm afraid I can't really say because I have not volunteered in another country. So, but in Singapore, I think in a way we are smaller, so easier for us to travel around Singapore to do our volunteer work. I think I'm just guessing in other countries, maybe the distance may be a little bit difficult sometimes. How often will there be an open house? I think every month we have an open house. We used to have open house to invite potential volunteers to join us to introduce RSVP, the organization, as well as the programs. But now we have bring all our open house almost to Zoom. So you can sign up for it. Yes, I mentioned the Cyber Guide program. Okay. Yes, as a cyber, okay, all the trainers, before you can be a trainer, whether it's soft skill or cyber guide, first we have to be interviewed by the staff, by Rsvp staff, to see what is our background. And after that, we have to also to go through some training and to sit in as associate trainer, sorry, to help to be associate trainer, to actually sit in and learn before we can become a trainer ourselves. Again, I would encourage you, if you're really interested in becoming a cyber guide trainer, please come to our open house and you'll learn more about it. When is the next open house? Okay, that one, I think I don't have it offhand, but you can go into our website, which is www.rsvp.org.sg. We have all the programs and all the open house dates listed. You can find more information and our phone number there to contact us. Okay, so with that, I thank you all for today, for your participation and for your questions. I know some of the questions I can't answer you because like the dates and all that, I don't have it on hand. Again, I encourage you, please go to our website, RSVP website. Okay, here is the website, www.rsvp.org.sg, or call us at 6259-0802 to find out more. We do have open house every month, so please sign up. And I apologize, I don't have the date on hand with me, but we encourage you to come and know more about us. Okay, with that, I thank you all again for your participation. I have a lot of questions here and I appreciate that. And I hope all of you will find this talk useful and motivate you to learn more about our programs. And I look forward to seeing all of you, whether at RSVP office, maybe in the near future, or on Zoom for some of the activities. Thank you again, and I wish you all a happy journey of volunteering soon, and a very happy New Year and happy Chinese New Year and happy holiday to all of you.